Will Joe Bastianich surpass Gordon Ramsay? There are two judges on MasterChef that make the show lively and energetic. One of them is Gordon Ramsay and the other is Joe Bastianich. Yes, Joe. Whether you like him or not, there's no denying the fact that he keeps everyone on their feet. And Gordon? If you're not tough enough, he'll make you go home with tears in your eyes. But among these two judges, who is actually tougher? Who really knows what they're doing? And most importantly, is Joe actually better than Gordon? First up, let's start with Joe Bastianich. You know those two teachers who made you dread going to class? Yeah, that's basically Joe's energy at the judges' table. Now, don't get me wrong, the man knows his wine in restaurants. That's his thing. But there's knowing your stuff, and then there's, well, whatever Joe does. Let's break down some of his greatest hits, shall we? Take this incident with contestant Jerome's Nashville hot quail dish. Joe was the first one to give his opinion on the dish. Surprisingly, he started by praising the dish, but things took a not-so-good turn quickly. He also decided to criticize the dish for no good reason, saying it lacked cohesiveness. But honestly, there was nothing to dislike about this dish. Even Aaron had to step in and say that he disagreed with Joe. When your fellow judges have to publicly call you out, maybe it's time to dial it back a notch. It's not the first time the other judges disagreed with Joe's critiques. Take this for instance.
Hearty, and that wonderful bean stew underneath it. It's got dive in all over it.
Yeah, I disagree. I think the toast cheapens the dish.
So you don't serve garlic bread in your restaurants?
No.
Oh, so
there's no such thing as garlic bread in Italy. So I think it cheapens it, it makes it less than it could be.
I disagree.
But wait, it gets better. There was that time Joe straight up threw someone's dish in the trash without even tasting it. Not a bite, not a sniff, straight to the bin. This happened not once, not twice, but on multiple occasions. What about that time when he decided to taste a fork instead of the actual dish? Just look at this. This man really thought he could judge a dish by tasting his fork alone. He didn't even bother to take a bite. Don't get me wrong if I say it's not just the fans that don't like Joe, but even the other judges think he's just too uptight and spoiled. Gordon himself said it too. The irony here is that behind the scenes, everyone's supposedly like one big happy family. Joe himself said that the warm kind of energy you see on the screen exists also off the screen. Really, Joe? Because the energy we see on screen is more of the disapproving uncle at Thanksgiving dinner than supportive family member. Look, there's being tough, and then there's being tough just for the sake of TV drama. When Joe left the show in 2014, everyone assumed it was because of behind-the-scenes drama. Turns out it was just because he was spread too thin between his various commitments. Which, fair enough, managing restaurants, appearing on TV shows, and maintaining that level of snobbishness must be exhausting work. But here's the thing that really gets me. MasterChef is supposed to be about transformation, about helping home cooks discover their potential and grow into incredible chefs, not just finding culinary talents around the world. When you've got someone who seems more interested in showing off their refined palate than actually nurturing talent, well, it kind of misses the whole point, doesn't it? Sure, Joe eventually came back to the show, and maybe he's mellowed out a bit. But let's be real, when your claim to fame is being slightly less harsh than you used to be, maybe it's time to reflect on your judging style. Just saying. And look, no one's saying judges need to be all sunshine and rainbows. But there's a difference between constructive criticism and Joe's words. At least Gordon gets it. If you want to know what real culinary leadership looks like, let's talk about Gordon Ramsay. And no, I don't mean the guy you've seen screaming, "It's raw" on Hell's Kitchen.
Is the fucking bass is fucking raw!
I mean the MasterChef Gordon, the one who can spot raw talent within 60 seconds and transform home cooks into pro chefs. Here's what makes Gordon the real MVP of MasterChef. He actually gets it. In his own words, these are amateurs that have full-time jobs as firefighters, school teachers, bank clerks. And you know what? He respects that. This is a guy who spent 3 years, as he puts it, getting my ass kicked in France, followed by another decade perfecting his craft. He knows the journey because he's lived it.
MasterChef is completely different. These are amateurs that have full-time jobs as firefighters, school teachers, bank clerks.
But here's where it gets really interesting. Gordon's got this incredible ability to switch gears based on who he's dealing with. You've gotta love how he breaks it down. With professional chefs in Hell's Kitchen, I'm not going to tolerate their mistakes because they should know that stuff before they come anywhere near me. But with MasterChef contestants, he becomes his culinary Yoda, guiding them through their journey from apron to finale until they finish like professional chefs. And can we talk about his hands-on approach? Because this man doesn't just stand there looking pretty with his arms crossed, like when this contestant's pan caught fire. The other judges just stood there watching. But Gordon took the pan out of the kitchen and extinguished the fire like a real chef would. What really sets Gordon apart is his investment in the learning process. According to him, he needs to keep it real, and honestly, he always does that. He's not just running a TV show, he's trying to create professional chefs. The most telling thing? That moment when he says, "I forget anything to do with contestants, competition, they're my chefs."
I forget anything to do with contestants, competition, and I'm running a restaurant, and my job is to feed.
That right there, that's the difference between someone who's just judging a show and someone who's actually teaching a craft. He's not there to throw dishes in the trash or taste empty forks. He's there to build the next generation of culinary talent. And let's be real, Gordon's got this ability to spot potential. He can tell how far contestants will go just by watching the way they cook, cut, posture, and just the amount of respect they have for ingredients. That's why he does his best to help nurture this talent. The man knows that if he breaks a contestant's spirit, they might never reach their true potential. The best part is that he doesn't just critique, he teaches. When something goes wrong, he's right there showing them how to fix it. When something goes right, he celebrates it. This is a man who understands that becoming a great chef isn't just about learning recipes. It's about building confidence, developing instincts, and mastering techniques. And he's there for every step of that journey. This, folks, is what real culinary leadership looks like. No gimmicks, no unnecessary drama. Just pure passionate dedication to the craft of cooking and the art of teaching it to others. And honestly, that's exactly what MasterChef needs at its helm: impact and legacy. Let's just put this out there. When you think about culinary greatness on television, there's Gordon Ramsay, and then there's, well, everyone else. And sure, Joe Bastianich might be a big deal in Italy, but Gordon, he's a global phenomenon, and there's a pretty obvious reason why. Think about the lasting impact these two have had on culinary television. Gordon has fundamentally transformed how we think about cooking shows. He's taken them from single step-by-step recipe demonstrations to intense emotional journeys of culinary discovery. When Gordon teaches, he's not just showing you how to cook. He's showing you how to think like a chef, how to feel the food, how to understand the soul of cooking. The numbers don't lie. Gordon's popularity spans continents, cultures, and cuisines. He's not just some chef who got lucky with TV. He's a culinary icon who's earned his status through decades of dedication to his craft. Meanwhile, Joe, there's a reason why people aren't too fond of him. But perhaps the most telling difference is in their approach to legacy. Gordon's clearly focused on building something larger than himself. He's creating a new generation of chefs who understand both the technical and emotional aspects of cooking. His impact isn't just about the shows he's on or the restaurants he runs. It's about the countless people he's inspired to pursue their culinary dreams. Look, at the end of the day, both judges have contributed to making MasterChef what it is. But there's no question about who's had the bigger impact on culinary television and culture as a whole. Gordon Ramsay hasn't just judged a cooking show. He's redefined what it seems to be a chef in the modern world. And that's why, whether you're in London, Los Angeles, or anywhere in between, everyone knows the name Gordon Ramsay.
You found food on the back of the upset with the injury in football, exactly the same as I did. Here's what I'd love to do. I've got restaurants in Miami, and I'd love for you to come and spend a couple of weeks with me in those restaurants.